Hi, welcome to my doll customizing journey. My name is Josephine and these are my creatures. Today we will be using a pretty random selection of doll parts to create a reindeer Centaur doll for Christmas. Or should I say REINTAUR? I believe this is a Marisol head and a Draculaura body dyed purple. Both came in a doll lot I bought online. You might remember that I stole the knees of this Draculaura body for my pastel fawn doll. We will be doing some head shrinking today, so bust out the acetone. Submerge the head and leave it in for 2 hours, then leave it to dry for 24 hours. Don't forget to stuff the head with something to prevent it from caving in when it dries. Mine developed an indent on her forehead despite the stuffing, but I don't mind, you can't really tell that it's there on the finished doll. I paint the sculpt to match the new hair and I also paint the hairline. Oops, forgot to remove her human ears until now. But don't worry, no harm was done and she can't feel a thing. The hair I'm using is Nylon from Retrodolls EU in the colors Silver Moon and Leia. Mixing the hair colors was a in-the-moment decision, but I do really like it in the end. Because she is a reindeer, she must have antlers. I did the reroot first because the head needs to be soft for that and shrunken heads can harden pretty fast on you. I shape the wire how I want it and then secure the hair and the ends of the wire with glue. I'm also in a hurry to put her head back on the body before it turns too hard and makes everything more difficult. I was waiting on supplies when I started working on her, so some of the steps are not in logical order because of that. I just had to start working on her so that I could get the video out in time for Christmas. Next is her face up. You have seen me do a face up many times before, so instead of narrating what I'm doing on the screen, I'm gonna share with you where I got the idea to create her. I was watching a YouTube video, I know, shocking, right? It was one of Blank Space Doll's videos, and this video was a collab with a creator called Fana, and I just went down a rabbit hole watching her content. I will leave a link to her channel in my subscription box below. And one video in particular stood out to me. It was her Winter Witch repaint video in her Season Witches series. I messaged Fana on Instagram and asked her if it was okay to make a doll inspired by her work, and she said yes. What most caught my eye on her doll was this amazing icy blue coat she made for the doll. And I really loved the color scheme of light blue and red. I was really stuck on what to do for Christmas special, and this video gave me so much inspiration, and the ball just kept on rolling from there on. In addition to her video, I took a lot of inspiration from photographs of reindeers. I wanted to have a lot of details taken directly from the animal, mostly the color scheme. You know, reindeers really are not brown, they are more of a grey color and a surprising amount of white. Okay, back to the doll. After I applied a layer of gloss varnish to her eyes and lips, I moved on to her body. You might be wondering why I'm going through all this trouble of creating a Centaur body from scratch, when I could just use a Avia Trotter body. Well, I don't have one, and they are really hard to find. I've never seen one sold second-hand where I live. The next best thing would be to use the horse that comes with the headless headmistress. And I found one online for €4. And I messaged the seller, waited a while, nothing. So I messaged again because I was in a hurry to start this project, letting them know I was willing to pay extra for the horse. Again, nothing. I waited more than 2 weeks and then I gave up. I dug into my stock box of dolls and pulled out this horse that you see now. It worked fine in the end, but at the time it was really frustrating. And on top of that, this was not the only hiccup I had. Oh no. I had 3 more! Yes, 3 more! I will share those when we get to them. Now, you have seen me lengthen the legs. I wanted the proportions to match the monster high upper body and to be overall more cute and stylized. The most newest thing for me was creating the chest articulation. First I thought to use elastic, but I was at the hardware store buying some heavy-duty wire for this project when I came across these tiny springs. And I thought I would save myself the trouble of going to the fabric store and try out these instead. And I do have to say they worked just fine. The only thing I would change is the placement of the hook. It should have been on the top instead of bottom because I can't access it. I don't know what I was thinking putting it there. I seal the cavity with fabric before going in with my hot glue and magic sculpt. After seeing her come together more, I decided to shorten her torso. I think it will make her look smaller and help with the proportions. Sometimes you have to see how things look together before you can make decisions. I also removed this music box that made a hoarse sound every time the neck would move. I know, very annoying. This is a long project, so we need a cake break ASAP. If you want to do something similar in your project, I would say start with the body modifications and do the head last. I couldn't do that here because I was out of magic sculpt and had to wait for my order to arrive. Finally it came and I could start with the sculpting. Making the antlers was really difficult. I tried to avoid messing up the hair the best I could, so the base of the antlers and the ears are a little bit messy, but because the wire goes through the head, they are not going to fall off anytime soon. I painted the antlers and ears because they didn't need sanding. I made sure the chest joint was fitting correctly with some fresh clay. Remember to put water between the layers so that they don't stick together when you test the fit of the joint. After some very messy sanding, I painted the body. I knew I was going to flock the entire body, so first the paint job was supposed to be a rough guide for me, but I enjoyed painting so much that I kept going with it. I protected the paint with a varnish on the few areas that are not going to be covered with flocking, like the chest, arms and the hooves that are a really bizarre shape right now. They really do look like this on real reindeer too. And then we get to the next hiccup of this project. For some reason, the dye used on the body reactivated when I used my varnish and MSC on top of it. This was so annoying to try and fix, and it isn't the most cleanest of paint jobs anymore, but she will be wearing some clothing, so not the end of the world. I made some flocking out of yarn off camera, but I first want to cover the belly side with one big piece of sheep skin, because that was the only white fur I had, and I bought these as offcuts. They were literally scraps that were going to be thrown away, so I'm repurposing them in my art. I prepped multiple colors of yarn flocking to cover the different areas. The legs are the darkest and there is a very distinctive stripe on the sides of the torso. I made the cutest little tail for her. The wire will help it stay in place and the glue is just for good measure. Let's unmask her to see how she looks. I added a tiny bit of flocking to her hands and face to tie everything together. I finish off the ears with a tuft of fur. Making this coat took me 2 tries, so bear with me and watch me fail at this first attempt. My biggest mistake was that I started with the coat when I should have started with the pieces that go under the coat, because now I'm making it too small. My second mistake was that I made the seams too complex. Working with tiny clothes means you have to make things simple to be able to even sew them together. I threw my first attempt out the window and started to work on the other pieces of clothing. I decided not to draft something myself, but to use patterns from Moonlight Jewel as a base. Here are some fabric samples I got when ordering fabrics online. And let me tell you, ordering stuff online is a real pain. When I first got my order, of course, half of it was replaced with someone else's order, and the missing items from my order were the samples that I really needed to see before I placed an order for the lining of the coat. So I had to message the company, and they had to resend everything to me, and then I could pick out the fabric I wanted and have it shipped out to me. So I wasted about a week doing this, and the lining fabric did not arrive in time, so the coat is not finished. You can't really tell that from the end pictures, but let's get back to the outfit, shall we? This has to be the tiniest knitting you have ever seen. So cute! I don't know why I finished off the back of this shirt so nicely. It won't be seen much, but at least I can show it to my viewers. I like this fabric sample, so let's make something small out of it. I don't know what to call this type of clothing. I did find a Swedish word for it, which is livstycke. It's a traditional piece of clothing in Scandinavia. This is the tiniest detail, but I love it so much. It makes it feel so much more Christmassy, I think. I was still avoiding remaking the coat, so let's make some accessories for her. I wanted to give her something that only a reindeer would wear, because the rest of her outfit is very much human clothes. I finally tackled the coat and made a new, much simpler pattern for it. I traced it to my fabric, which is this light blue satin material. I sealed the edges before cutting to prevent fraying. I had just enough of the dark blue fabric to finish off the sleeves where the lining is very visible. Here is the finished coat. I made the fur trim out of fluffy yarn to get the right scale and different texture than her fur. Let's put the final piece on her, which is the adorable little reindeer harness equipped with tiny bells. that really do make a sound. This is one of my favorite things about her, and I also love her coat. It turned out so good in the end. Unfortunately, we didn't have any snow when I finished working on her, and I wanted to take pictures right away, so I had to build this little setup just for her. I have decided to call her Lumi, which is a really cheesy name for her because Lumi means snow in Finnish, but it's just her name. I added some tiny extra details to her, like the holly berries on her hair, the red bow to close her coat, and the golden ankle ring. I definitely would wear an ankle ring if I was a REINTAUR. So cute! I am in love with how she turned out, and after all the trouble with the ordering supplies and them not arriving on time and me messing up her coat, it just feels so rewarding to like the outcome so much. Thank you guys so much for watching, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year! Subscribe if you haven't yet done that, like this video and leave a comment. I would love to know what you think of Lumi. Until next time, bye! Finally, some real snow!